Hi everyone, I'm John Tracy and welcome to The Voice Guru. Through my experience in opera, jazz, and pop, I share my knowledge in everything related to the art of singing in my weekly videos every Friday. Every voice has a limit. It has a lower register and a higher register. However, each register has a specific range as well. You can develop range throughout the voice with proper technique and by practicing and understanding how the voice functions. First of all, you have the lower range. It's called the chest voice. The chest voice is the lower extremities of your voice. And then you have the higher register, which is called the head voice. The head voice is the higher extremity of your voice. Between the head voice and the chest voice, there is a small passage that is called a passaggio. A passaggio in Italian means passage, and it's a transition from the chest voice to the head voice. However, I've mentioned it several times in previous episodes that whether it's the chest voice or the head voice you're singing in, there's always a combination between the two. So the chest voice is always mixed with the head voice and vice versa throughout your register. So whether you're a soprano, a tenor, a mezzo-soprano, an alto, or a bass, you all have a register. You all have a chest voice, a passaggio, and a head voice. And depending on your vocal development, you can determine which sort of voice you have. So if you're a young singer who has never had vocal training before, you might still be wondering what kind of voice you have. And it's totally normal because when you first start to learn how to sing, you're still trying out, you're still discovering the things, the mechanics of the body and the voice, and how you need to bring all these information together. But with time, practice, and experience, and by having a great vocal coach by your side, you can develop the voice, and also you can determine which vocal range you belong to. So if you start off by being a baritone, for instance, or a mezzo-soprano, with time, perhaps you are actually a soprano or a tenor. So here's my chest voice. And then eventually I have to introduce the passaggio, which is more of a combination between the chest voice and the head voice. And until the F, I can still do the same thing. Now starting the F in my voice, this is when I have to introduce more of the head voice. So the chest voice can range from the lower A to the higher A, if you're a baritone, a mezzo, or a bass perhaps. However, if you're a soprano or a tenor, your lower register would go from the C to the higher C. And then you have the passaggio. The passaggio can range from A to D for lower voices, and from the C to the F for higher voices. But it's not a general rule. It really depends on your voice and your type of voice as well. And the passaggio, it's really a transition between the chest voice and the head voice. So what you have to do here is really start mixing more the head voice to the lower register, the chest voice, in order to be able to reach higher notes and the higher register, which is also called the head voice. But it's a misconception to say that I'm singing in the head voice, because we always need both registers. We always need the chest voice and the head voice. As I mentioned, the head voice is also formed by the chest voice. Whenever there's a separation between the two registers, there's a breakage, and the sound is weak, poor, and perhaps it'll make you strain the muscles of your throat in order to compensate for the sound. It's good to understand the mechanics of the voice and the different registers that we all have. But we shouldn't be too obsessed with these things. We should kind of go with the flow, let go, and allow the body to do whatever it feels like doing. Sometimes, depending on the song or the style of music, you can take up the chest voice more in order to create an effect. Using a falsetto is not very healthy because it is kind of strained. But for certain songs where you have certain notes that you want to sing with this type of effect, you can definitely do that, as long as you know how to undo that as well. So using a falsetto is good because that means you know how to do many things with your voice, but also doing it the right way is even better, meaning mixing the head voice and the chest voice. You can still use the belting procedure for a certain type of songs or to create a specific effect, but it's not a healthy way of doing things. Separating registers means that you either lack technique or you really understand technique and that you're just trying to create an effect. However, singing only with the chest voice or only with the head voice means that you have not developed your voice and that probably you don't know how to differentiate both things, both techniques. But it really takes time to develop a voice registers and range. When you develop the extremities of the higher notes, by miracle, the lower notes extremities also develop. The more you know, the more you get better. And practicing is the main ingredient for this. Stay tuned for next week's part 2 of this series. You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. I'm John Tracy, and thank you all for watching.